He wasn't good at school. He struggled to read. He struggled to remember. And people noticed. Teachers lowered expectations. Adults spoke slowly. Others assumed he wouldn't go far. He grew up poor on a small farm in a country where efficiency mattered and mistakes were remembered. He wasn't fast with words. He wasn't sharp with theory. And he was often underestimated because of it. But while others focused on what he lacked, he focused on what felt obvious to him. That things were too expensive, too complicated, too wasteful. He didn't think in systems. He thought in shortcuts. How to make things cheaper. How to remove what wasn't needed. How to make something work with less. They called it simplistic. They called it naive. They didn't see it as intelligence. But simplicity wasn't a weakness to him. It was survival. And over time, that way of thinking, born from limitation, shaped by rejection, would quietly rewrite how the world lives at home. This is not a story about brilliance. It's a story about clarity. This is the story of Ingvar Kamprad. He learned early that school wasn't built for him. Letters mixed together, instructions blurred, tests punished memory more than understanding. So he learned outside the classroom. He sold matches to neighbors, then seeds, then fish, then pens and wallets. Anything people needed at a price they wouldn't argue with. He wasn't charismatic. He wasn't persuasive. He was precise. He noticed what sold, what didn't, and why. He learned that people didn't want better. They wanted cheaper, simpler, good enough. On the farm, nothing was wasted. Tools were shared, materials reused, time respected. Scarcity trained his eye. While others dreamed of innovation, he focused on reduction, cutting steps, cutting costs, cutting ego. His dyslexia forced him to simplify everything: names, processes, communication. If something couldn't be explained quickly, it was probably unnecessary. People mistook this for small thinking. They thought ambition required complexity, but complexity never paid his bills. Clarity did. By the time he was a teenager, he wasn't dreaming of status or success. He was thinking about logistics, distribution, and margins. Not how to impress, but how to scale without waste. And that mindset, built from limitation and repetition, was already laying the foundation for something far larger than anyone around him could imagine. He started a company young, not with confidence, with necessity. The products were simple: cheap furniture, mail-order catalogs, no showroom, no prestige, just price lists and logistics. People looked down on it. They said cheap meant low quality. They said serious customers wanted craftsmanship, not affordability. They laughed at the margins. They questioned the ambition. But Ingvar wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was trying to solve a problem most businesses ignored. Furniture cost too much. Delivery was inefficient. Waste was everywhere. So he redesigned the system. He removed showmanship. He flattened packaging. He asked customers to participate, to carry, to assemble, to accept fewer choices in exchange for lower prices. It sounded unreasonable. Why should customers do the work? Why strip away service? Why simplify design? Because simplicity travels. Flat packs reduce shipping costs. Standardized parts reduced errors. Limited options reduced confusion. What others saw as inconvenience, he saw as collaboration. Customers weren't being deprived. They were being invited in. Critics still doubted him. Competitors dismissed him. But quietly, orders increased. Warehouses expanded. Costs dropped. The system worked. Not because it was clever, but because it respected reality. People didn't want luxury. They wanted access. And by choosing simplicity over status, Ingvar Kamprad was building something that didn't rely on taste or trends, but on fundamentals, something that could scale without explanation. Success didn't make things easier. It made them hostile. Competitors pressured suppliers to stop working with him. Trade groups tried to isolate his company. They said his prices were unfair, his methods unethical, his model dangerous. They wanted him to play by rules written for bigger margins and smaller audiences. He refused. When suppliers were blocked, he found new ones. When costs rose, he redesigned again. When furniture became expensive, he removed more. The opposition only sharpened the system. He built factories closer to materials. He standardized designs across countries. He treated logistics as the product, not the furniture itself. Stores became warehouses. Warehouses became destinations. Customers walked through rooms that looked like real homes, not galleries, not showpieces, but places that felt achievable. Nothing was accidental. Paths were planned. displays tested, prices calculated down to the smallest unit. The simplicity wasn't aesthetic, it was operational. Every decision asked the same question: can this be done with less? Less material, less cost, less waste, less explanation. And while critics argued about taste, millions of families furnished their homes for the first time. Not with luxury, with dignity. IKEA didn't win by changing people's desires. It won by respecting their limits. And in doing so, it turned simplicity into a global language. Ingvar Kamprad never became the man people expected him to be. He didn't dress like a billionaire. He didn't speak like a visionary. He didn't live like someone who built one of the largest companies on earth. He kept flying economy. He reused pens. He stayed suspicious of excess, especially his own, because he never forgot where his thinking came from struggling to read, from being underestimated, from learning that complexity was often just waste in disguise. Simplicity wasn't a design choice, it was a discipline, a way to remove ego, a way to survive criticism, a way to scale without losing control. People called IKEA cheap, then they called it global, then they called it inevitable. But Ingvar never chased inevitability. He chased function, what works, what lasts, what people can afford. In a world that rewards noise, he built quietly. In a market that sells aspiration, he sold practicality. And that is why IKEA didn't belong to a culture, a country, or a class. It belonged to anyone who needed a home to feel complete. Ingvar Kamprad didn't win by being smarter or louder or more ambitious. He won by making things simple enough for the world to say yes. Some ideas don't win because they are loud or complex. They win because they make sense to the most people for the longest time.